All right, guys. So I'm gonna just do a quick walkthrough here on some of the new updates. So let me just go over these. All right. So first off, we've got just new formatting on the sponsored products and brands search term reports. So as you add them in the settings tab here, so you can see right there, I've got them both checked on. And then if you want to import those, that's done in this step here where you auto import anything you have checked. So that'll import your sponsored products and brands. And then you need to remember manually import your bulk file. So that's step one. And then step three imports the files. And then step four now syncs all of these sheets that you import, and it does it more efficiently. So that's another big improvement we added, is it's just going to hopefully run a lot smoother, especially on the bigger accounts. And then on the sponsored products tab, you can see the black columns here actually will not be added by default. So let me show you. So it's going to look like this after the sync operation finishes right here. But you'll see the headers are cleaned up, and then we've got all the right kind of formatting and decimal points and stuff for the metrics. Some of those were messed up before. Condensed everything as well, hid some of the columns that aren't really necessary. And that's pretty much that update there. As far as the reset search term report, so that is a filter now that is in the wasted ad spin search term report tools. So you can click this at any time and it's just going to reset if you're either on the sponsored products or brands sheet, and just kind of unfilter any filters and then put a hang on one second. It's going, yeah, sorry, it's gonna put a filter back around the table, and that's pretty much the point of that, is to kind of reset everything. So it's pretty self-explanatory, I think. Update ASIN level override functionality. Okay, so that one we've just now got for the bid override table. The ASIN override functionality, both for monitor and, well, actually, no, this one's just for the ASIN bidding override. So that's what this means. This one with the asterisk is just to monitor. But the update is basically for all of these formulas now. You have the ability to add those ASIN level overrides, and they will be calculated as such based on kind of the precedent. So remember, the ASIN level precedent is kind of the lowest level of these four. So hopefully that makes sense. All right. The campaign export, there was a bug. So essentially, I won't go through the process. I've done it enough on some of the previous videos, but you make your upload file, then you make the upload file in this step, and then you either export your bulk file, or you can also export a update bulk file. So that's if you're updating existing campaigns versus creating new campaigns. There was an issue with the script saving to your FBA Excel export files folder, but now that's fixed. So that's what that update's for. All right, this script here, you guys won't see anything different, but it will just run this script a lot more efficiently now. So especially on the larger accounts, it's going to handle that a lot better. And then the other big performance update is on all of the kind of if your sheet has them, conditional quick scripts here. So it's going to remove campaign level negations, going to fix your ASIN targeting, and remove drafts and negatives off of sponsored brands. That's going to happen a lot faster now. All right, so that's all that is. The, oh yeah, okay, that's the negative one. As far as this, that's just a formatting thing we did. No worries there. Add error handling. Okay, yeah, so we just improved the remove campaign level negations script. A lot of users were having issues with that, so we got all that fixed around. Mentioned the expanded ASIN targeting. We did find that bulk sheets will handle expanded ASIN targeting. You just have to remove the word expanded, and it keeps it in the correct campaign type. So that should be good. All right, this one here is just kind of a usability feature. So for the Stoptimizer and poor performers. So poor performers is actually what this update's on. So you can either do all sheets at once or active sheet only. If I click active sheet only, it's just going to filter my bulk sheets for any active targets that meet my poor performer criteria, which is done on the settings tab. And then you'll see it's actually going to sort it by spend at the end. That was the change there. So you'll have kind of your worst performers at the top type of deal. Right. All right, so the next one is same type of deal, but that's just done now on the Stoptimizer sheet. So let me go here. All right, and the Stoptimizer script is just right here, so it's going to run the exact same thing. And I'll run this. I think there actually may be an issue. I was looking at it earlier. Yeah, there's an issue with that script, so I got to test that before I upload it. I'm gonna have to refresh that, unfortunately. So that's going to do the same thing. It's just going to sort your Stoptimizer or sort your search term report by your Stoptimizer criteria. Then it's going to sort by spend at the end. So that's all that does. All right. The next one. Okay, yeah, this one's needs some explanation here. All right. So let me actually make a note. Check this. All right. Okay, so this one here this one here is kind of a cleanup type operation. So essentially, if we clear all our filters and let's pretend we want to clean up our bulk file, potentially archive some campaigns that over time you can, especially if you use like the poor performers filter and you have campaigns that just aren't performing well, you'll end up pausing at the target level quite a few either keywords or ASINs. So this script here, all it does is it gives you a campaign list of all the campaigns that are potentially enabled right now, but have at the target level everything paused. So what you can do with that now is copy from the campaign name field here. I've got some extra columns hidden. So actually your sheet or unhidden, your sheet's going to look like, let's see, it'll look like that actually. So you can grab this column here, just Control Shift down, Control C to copy, and then go over to the Labs tab. You'll see the Labs tab looks a little bit more cleaned up as well. You always want to kind of delete these to make sure you don't have any duplicates or anything, and then just click there and hit Control Shift V. All right, and then you're going to go Labs, Campaign Quick Sort, Show on List, and this is actually going to show you all the rows now associated with these campaigns, including the pause targets that we said we wanted to potentially archive. So that's what you can do at this point, or there's different applications for this feature as well. But you'll see now if I actually unfilter everything but the keyword and product targeting rows, you'll see our only option now is paused. So that's what that does just really quickly. There's no way efficiently other than that kind of two-step process I just showed you to show on our bulk file multiple campaigns in a list. You can't, without knowing and like one by one going down through here and checking each one, which would be almost impossible the more you have. So hopefully that kind of process I just showed made sense. All right. The Labs tab, I very quickly just did that example, but if you noticed, we now have campaign quicksort, target quicksort, portfolio quicksort for all three ad types. So that's definitely big improvement. You have the quick harvest. So this is a new feature that we're testing out, essentially you start at the sponsor products. This only works for the sponsor products sheet right now, but in the as sync state, which is after you sync all your data here, you now have the ability to go to AdTactix tools, keyword harvesting, and you'll see there's a quick harvest feature down here. So you can initialize it first, and this is going to throw some new columns in this sheet. So you see your SKU column comes in now, and you also have a checker for sponsor products for single keyword exact, regular exact, broad phrase, or ASIN targeting. And if you see, if I scroll down, you'll see some counts based on if the search term or not is in our sponsor products file. You do want to be careful and make sure that you haven't kind of post-processed this file. The quick harvest needs to be done before you do any of the final bit optimization, because if you do look on this script right here, there's a note. Need to make it a little more apparent, but it says this needs to be done kind of last because it deletes some of the columns. So that's, some of these columns are needed to make some of the other stuff for the lookups and whatnot be accurate. So anyway, that's what this is doing. And then as an example, let's pretend now that I want to look at all of my search terms with anything, I don't know, 4 orders or more, right? And let's say that's not in a single keyword exact. So you can basically show blanks, right? And let's look at for just one ASIN or SKU at a time. That makes it a little easier. Let's see if we've got any for this guy. All right, we got one. It looks like it's a ASIN campaign. So in this case, you would actually check this box. And if you want to add it to a new campaign, you could put the number 1 there. And then what you would do is come up here, click build campaigns. All right, and this is going to take you over here, and you need to be careful here because we're creating a ASIN targeting. So do a number 2, hit OK. Right, and you can see it just populates that ASIN, populates our SKU for us, gives our default nomenclature there, which again, you set that up right here, kind of before you run that step I just ran. Then after that, it's pretty well your same three more steps there to get the campaign built. But that's the idea. You can pretty much do that in bulk and just use your search term report now and essentially skip the AdTactix dashboard if you just want to quickly get some campaigns going off of some search terms. The other option is you have the, if you recall, there's the search terms and then this upper section where you can add the keywords to the AdTactix dashboard to kind of keep everything all in one place. And then that criteria you can kind of start out with this table here if you want some default filter criteria. So I've covered that in some previous videos, and I'm going to be working next week on more real in-depth training on this tool now that it's kind of getting wrapped up, or at least at a stage that we can start shooting some good training for it. So that's coming down the pike, but that's what that one is. All right, and then to end up, we've started to fill out the bid override table some more with some custom metrics. So if I just kind of minimize this a little more. Actually, let me show you one more thing before I show you this. So the other thing is our audit. So if you click this button here, as long as your 3 ad files are in the as sync state, so again, that's right after this script, that's the as sync state, you can click this button here, and at the top of your dashboard, you now have your sponsor products audit, brands audit, you've got your display audit. You can see in this example file, I don't have much for display. Then you've got combine. It's just showing you a breakdown of all 3 ad types. And in the upper left corner of each of these, you can select and kind of slice it up by ASIN as well if you have kind of a hero ASIN or one you're trying to improve. All right. And then hopping back over now to bid override table. We've added kind of this notes field. So this is one you can add notes. If you right click, you can insert a note that way, or you can just type directly into the cell. And then if you click this plus button, that's going to show you all of the current kind of custom formulas that we've added. A few notable ones: top of search impression share, which that's the only place you can actually get that is in Campaign Manager on the campaign dashboard, right when you log into your ad console. So the way this works is you need to expand these two kind of plus buttons on the very end. This one right here is the one for campaign manager and you essentially just need to import the data at this upper left cell, and you can override it each time you want to pull in new data. So you can set kind of a date range in campaign manager, however you want to do it, to sync up with. I'd do the same date range that your bulk file is, just to kind of make all the metrics and data consistent. But you can see there's other data in here as well that you can kind of customize the columns in that campaign manager report and pull in if you want. But at top of search impression share is right here. So that's just what we're pulling in, at the campaign level. So if we go over to our bid override table, you've got obviously your campaigns hidden here if you expand them. So there's our campaigns in AE. So it's looking that campaign name up off that table and then pulling that in here. So that gives you an indication of kind of what your top of search impression share is. And then you've got at the sponsored products and sponsored brands level for each of these keywords on the bid override table, what your search term impression share is. And that's looking at this target that you're targeting and then bouncing that off of your sponsor brand, sponsor product search term impression share report and giving you back that percentage. So it gives you a pretty good identification on how much impressions per the rest of the market that you're getting and which ones are in kind of top search. Search query performance rank, that's the metric that Amazon gives you that kind of ranks your products, or dependent of each ASIN, usually like 1 through 100 is what I'm seeing most products. They give you about 100 keywords per ASIN, and you can, know, especially like your top 10, keep close eyes on those. Use the target sniper as well in combination with that data to just really, get a good picture on how your keywords are performing on a daily basis. So that's kind of the intent of it. Keep that hidden if you don't want to see it when it's not in use. We've fixed all the placement modifiers, stuff like that for the fine tuning. You can update campaign budgets, placement modifiers across all three. It's going to update it across all three ad types if it makes sense to. So like placements are only in products, for example. So we'll just update the products. Campaign budgets, if for some reason you have the same campaign name, which you shouldn't, but anyway, it's going to update it accordingly. All right, so that is in a nutshell the main changes. We're still working on a few of these. So this one here is going to have a way that we can, along with the current rank report that we import, which is right here. So you check this box here, and then you end up naming the file. I think it's keyword right there, keyword underscore, and then the ASIN, the B, whatever, 9 more digits. That's the current nomenclature, but we're going to have a new one that does keyword underscore ASIN underscore the current date. And then that will take kind of precedence if you have that file format and get saved in the back end, so you can actually import the badges or the Amazon's Choice badge type of deal or bestseller badge that Helium 10 tracks, but they don't track it in their history keyword file. They only have it kind of in the UI, so we can copy and save that data with a Chrome extension and then just save it to our Google Drive folder and import that. So that's going to be kind of a feature that's coming out here soon, and we'll probably have that. I was thinking maybe to have it over here on the left, but we'll probably for now just throw it in one of these other custom columns. But if you guys have any ideas on some additional custom columns, we can add those. I think I went over the total sales, tacos related. We can pull in sessions as well, would be another good metric. But all that data is in the labs tab as well, under business reports. So you just unhide that and then just make sure you get the data underneath the right column header there. You should be good. Once you paste the data into, if the bid override table is not updated, you always need to just click the sync button and then it'll kind of refresh everything. So that's what that does. All right, and still working on the kind of the search term quick harvest that I showed you. We're gonna have a way to update existing campaigns a lot easier. So that's kind of the final phase there. We've got a country selector that's just for the other markets, when you click on this here, it's going to toggle some of the automatic links that get triggered so you can download your bulk file and stuff like that. Right now, it's mainly set up for the US. All right, and then the big thing that's still left to do in this tool is the sponsor brands and display bulk campaign builder integration. So we've kind of built out the template and architecture for this, but haven't actually added the functionality into it yet. So that's what we're going to be working on next. And that'll just allow you to really plan out things and then use this kind of layout to really efficiently add your keywords to any type of campaign you want, and then they'll get integrated into, you know, this type of flow. So that's what's coming. All right, I've actually just finished this portion, so that'll get kind of uploaded here in the 1.7, and this other one's just a formatting thing. So you can see we're really starting to kind of finalize things, and I'm planning for like December 1st as far as launching this. So next week will probably be the last beta group set of calls. So if you have any questions or want to hop on next Tuesday, that'll be the final one we'll do. I did have a few questions that I've received multiple times, so I just wanted to show you that. If you have some existing bid override fields here, this column right here, essentially you just need to copy and paste this over from your current version to your new version, and then obviously your bid input settings here, you can copy and paste those pretty easily. All the rest of this data will import automatically from your bulk file after you sync it. So you know, you need to import this. You need to assign your type to the same type, so you could copy and paste that. I always recommend hitting Control-Shift-V when you paste, because it'll just paste the values when you do that. And then, you know, I mentioned the bid input settings. And then lastly, if you want to kind of keep this in sync, the main info you need here is just going to be, let's see, it's going to be this column through this column, and then everything else. So you'd want to, for here, if you had stuff already in here, you'd want to like copy it like that, copy it down, paste those 3 columns over, and then the other one would be just this keyword column. If you pull in the keyword dominator data as well, you've got the static data that comes in with that. So I guess step 2, you paste this data in with it. But those are really the only 2 things. And then it's a matter of just, you know, using this to import the new set of reports along with your bulk file. Click that, and everything should sync and kind of be back to normal after that. All right, so it's that. And then the missing bids, this is something actually I've never talked about in any of the other training that I have on Apex. So it's going to be some of the new stuff I'm going to be adding to the training, as well as in the SOPs. But what is essentially doing is, when you create a new campaign, usually this happens a lot with auto campaigns. It's because the new bulk format especially doesn't support target level bid setting. So like your close match substitutes, you can't set those at the target level with the new bulk sheets. So you're forced to fall back to the ad group bid. So what that ends up doing on your bid override tables, it throws a, let's see, I don't have it here, but it'll say missing bid if you have kind of one of those. And what that missing bid means is, if I come up here, there's actually a quick filter button I made for it because it was kind of annoying. So show missing bids. And then this is going to look at all our active targets and see if there's any blank bid columns, which is AE. So I don't have any in this one. That's why it's not showing. But if it did, it would be here in column AE. All right. So let me pretend here. Just do this and show you. So this would be an example, and missing bids. All right, so you can see this is what basically I'm explaining right here that's in text, but essentially what you need to do, you need to check this before you kind of start using AdTactix, because if you don't have a bid at the target level, which is this column here, it's always going to fall back to the ad group level, and none of the bid optimization is really going to take place, because one of the inputs in the bid optimization is to, you know, check the current bid in some scenario in variables. So a good practice is just to copy that data, hit Control-Shift-V for any of them that are missing, and now you're good to go. kind of from henceforth, because as soon as you update this into Campaign Manager, then you'll have target level bids that are independent of each other. But until then, it's always going to fall back to, again, the ad group level. So anyway, that is basically it. That's basically what I wanted to cover. Let's make sure I've got Jalou on here. Jalou, you got any questions?
Yeah, one.
Sure.
Your downloadable beta AdTactix in the website is 1.6. So
Yeah, I'm going to
when
upload 1.7 here, if not tonight, first thing in the morning. So this will be available.
mm, okay. And one more. When you're in that sponsored product campaigns, can I go direct to campaign builder?
You're saying, do you want to go?
I
You
mean,
talking?
those data, can I upload it, or can I create a campaign using that data directly?
Okay, you're talking from the sponsored products campaigns that you, because sponsored products campaigns basically means you already have those campaigns running. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah. Actually, I wanted to pause it. The state.
Hmm.
Can I pause it? How
Yes.
can I update? Yeah.
Yeah, you can basically, anything you do in this file right here that we're looking at is going to be reflected in Campaign Manager as soon as you upload it. So the state column here, if you notice, there's um, enabled, paused, and there's actually an archived is another one. There's
Mm,
not that option in here because I don't have any of them, but that's the third option. So you can theoretically in that column, I can pause the. Let me scroll to the top. Since so you can see here, um, I could pause the campaign just by clicking this here and changing that to paused. I could pause the ad group if I wanted, just by changing that to paused. I could actually pause the product ad if I had two, SKUs or ASINs like an FBM, FBA, or similar products that I only wanted to run it for one of them going forward. I could pause one of them and keep one of them going. And then finally, you've got the keywords that are kind of the lower level. Then you'll have negatives as well underneath that in some scenarios. But you can see here, I've only got one keyword in here. But if I'd want to pause it, I need to change this field here. These gray ones are just for kind of reference.
mm,
So that's the field there you want to pause. So when you run, where it's really useful, especially that I would use it in, is when you come up here and hit core performers and active sheet. So this one, it's gonna. I've shown this a few times, but it filters this. Either three of these sheets, it'll filter it by the criteria you specify on the settings tab. And then you can see here, these are the ones that have no orders. They have either high spend, high clicks, or high impressions with low click-through rate. So they're not good. You're just wasting money on them. So you can pause those at this stage just by changing that to the word paused. You do want to make
mm,
sure you double check it that it's the word pause, because if you put in the word pause without the D, it'll throw an error. But the
mm,
trick is once you make any of those changes, and there's other changes you can make too, like if you wanted to reorganize your portfolios, for example. That's
mm,
a field in here under. It's actually an ID you have to change, so it's hidden right now. But let's see, I'll show it to you for the fun of it. Got some hidden ones here. So portfolio ID, that's going to show up at every campaign level row. So if you theoretically wanted to change all your portfolios really quick, that would be a good way to do it.
mm,
And the IDs show up just for fun of it while we're going over it. It shows up right here. It's a numerical ID. That's the number that's important. So to reorganize things, you have to go into Campaign Manager. You have to create the actual campaigns first, or the portfolios first, rather. And then when
mm,
you download your bulk file, they'll be in here with a new number. And then that's the number you have to replace in that portfolio ID that I just showed you. But yeah, if you pause things, if you add the portfolios in this new format, you can even rename the campaigns in this layout. So that's another thing. You rename them in the campaign name, which is another hidden one right here. I'll have to do a special training on all these kind of fancy things, but the key point is yeah, you can update any of this data, and then as soon as you upload it by exporting it and then uploading it, it'll be reflected in Campaign Manager with any changes you made.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Cool. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah, man. You got any other questions? It's just you and me tonight, so all yours, man.
Actually, I'm catching up with all of the updates, and I go to your replay or recorded video if I wanted to know something. So that's what
Yeah,
I
I'm getting ready to
really
kind
do.
of start structured training, so it'll be all broken down a lot better and easier to follow. It's been a bit of a mess thus far, so thanks for sticking with me. But were you on here when I covered this part
Yeah.
for the search terms? Okay, yeah, that's kind of one of the
Mm.
newer features since last week. But you can use these filters now to just really quickly see about this search term report. Which ones you're not already targeting, and then build out your campaigns quickly. But it's basically the same thing that you can do on the tactics dashboard. It's just a different way of doing it. It's maybe a little more efficient, especially if you don't want to use the tactics dashboard. But I like the tactics dashboard just because it keeps everything organized for you and allows you to kind of plan things out better. But anyway.
Mm.
All right. Well, if you don't have any more questions, I'll probably duck off here. But feel free to ping me at a support email or whatever if you have any questions.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, man. I'll see you next
Bye-bye.
week. Cheers.